Scientific Writing Management, Part 2. Let's try to answer the question how to manage 1 billion of references. In order to do that, we would need to define what is reference management software and then go through principle of reference management with Zotero as an example. And then let's talk about collaborative work with references. So the reference management software looks like this usually. You have several panes on the left, on the right. In the middle you would see some columns with the metadata, years, names, titles. And it works on iPads or even in your phones. And of course, instead of many papers in some folders on your shelf, you will have just a digital software which works everywhere. It might be installed on your laptop or home PC or at work. First of all, you search for an article as we've discussed in the previous part. Then you import this reference into your bibliography management software. And then you will start to systematize it, rename, change the metadata. You can sync it with the cloud so that you can access it from home. Next, you can export the references. And finally, you can cite in a word processor. Let me tell you that there are a lot of management software, so let's compare some of them. My favorite is Zotero because it usually costs $0 for the user, but there would be of course limitations, and you start paying $20 per year with 6 gigabytes to store your articles, or you can start paying $120 per year without any limitations. I like Zotero because it's easy for adding references. That was a feature of that software. You have a lot of plugins written by the community. You have a very nice community, so when you have some questions, you just write to a forum and you would very soon get a reply. So it is very supported. And it also has a Google Docs integration, which is absolutely amazing because you can write in Google Docs. And if you have tried Google Docs, you know that it's perfect for real-time collaboration. Mendeley is really nice. It also costs you $0. Of course, there would be limitations, so soon enough you will find out that you would like to pay for that. It starts from $55 per year up to $165. What is great about Mendeley, it has very good metadata extraction. There is a built-in PDF viewer. And then it is meant to work with all kinds of devices like iPhone or iPad. JabRef is specifically for LaTeX, so it is BibTeX based integration with LaTeX, and it costs $0. There would be a lot of other alternatives like Papers, Citavi, etc. And in order to read about all of them, let's look on the URLs given in the left bottom corner. And of course I should mention Endnote because that was one of the first management software which appeared on the market. As a student you can pay about $140 and get a 1-year license. Working in a group is a bit problematic with that because then everyone in your group should have the license, which means that you need to pay $140 times the number of group members. It's too much. With Mendeley and Zotero, you don't have such problem. It's enough that some super user has a super account without limitations or some smaller limitations, and then you can share a group library with a lot of students who do not pay anything. So before you choose your software, consider what would you like. Probably Mendeley is great. It looks nice. It works everywhere. It has very nice PDF viewer integration. But if you would like to use it in a group, then you would overpay in comparison to Zotero. Next, Zotero, specifically about that. It's pronounced as Zotero. It's a free tool that collects, manages, and cites research sources, not only articles. And this is absolutely amazing because some of my friends to whom I introduced Zotero, they started to use Zotero basically for everything. But you might start even writing there what kind of food you buy, or what kind of documents you usually store on your computer. Like, amazingly, a lot of things can be done there. It's just a management software, so it's not only about the references or bibliography, it could be everything. Let's go back to bibliography. So it downloads references directly from databases and publishers, and that was the feature that made it so popular. It stores and syncs references in a shared group libraries. It might not be a shared, or it might not be group, it could be your private library, but the way of sharing is a strong side of Zotero. It keeps PDF files linked to their references. And what is absolutely great is that Zotero is integrated with several word processors, not only Word like Microsoft Word, but also with freeware like LibreOffice. It works with Google Docs, and it works with Overleaf. And probably we should do the following, as written here. We should start with installing Zotero. Then let's see how we can manage group libraries. Let's install some connectors and Zot file, and then let's set up sync. Yeah. Here we are on the Zotero webpage. First of all, you would need to download Zotero for Windows. I have done already. Then you can install Chrome connector. Done. Okay, now you can see there is a small button in the top right corner. It's written here, Save to Zotero. Soon we will learn how to use it. The installation is the usual one, but I would like to show you some tips on what shall we tick in order to work more efficiently. Let's see what kind of custom. It's usually you can add something to your desktop, start programs, install. All right, let's continue. It already automatically asks you whether you would like to install some plugin for LibreOffice. We can go through that, and which means that LibreOffice will be integrated as well as Word. But it requires some Java, so let's skip it. Here it is, Zotero. It welcomes you, so you can go to Quick Start Guides, and there are a lot of videos about Zotero on the YouTube. You can just go there and search for specific topic you like. Now in the left pane here, you have your library with your publications, duplicated items, untitled items, trash. Well, you can create here new collections, write thesis or first article for PhD. And you can also go to preferences and sync with your library that is now in the cloud. When you do sync, you can choose your libraries because you might have a lot, like me. I don't want all of them. They're very large. One small, maybe this one might be not so big. So let's try this one. When you do sync, probably you should download as needed, because if you check the sync time, then it will be downloading the whole library from the internet. Now, if you have about thousands of articles, that's not a wise idea. 1,000 multiplies by usual size of a PDF of 3 megabytes, it will be 3 gigabytes, and you don't want to store all of them. But it might be so that you don't have always the internet connection. Then it's a good idea to have all the articles on your laptop. Anyway, at the very first sync, never ever put at sync time because Zotero might freeze. There is an option to set up a web DAO. That means you don't need to pay for the storage. I think it's a new feature, so I haven't tested it because I'm just supporting Zotero by buying the yearly subscription. But if you would like to economize, you can set up a web DAO, meaning that you would have kind of cloud-like storage in the net that everyone can access, and you can upload all the articles there. Then you don't depend on Zotero. This is all yours and you don't pay, which is absolutely great. Why not? Now we set up the sync. The sync button is usually on the top right. I should click here. You see my group library is here. Now we have some catalogs, folders. Meanwhile, let's go to preferences again. General. I usually untick some of them. Zotero would like to take a lot of things from the net, as much as possible, especially the metadata. Now I don't want it to automatically take snapshots from creating items from web pages. But I would like to automatically attach the associated PDF, which is good. Automatically retrieve metadata for PDFs. That means that if you drag and drop something into Zotero, it will automatically take the metadata from the PDF. I will show you later. And automatically rename attachments. That's also a good idea. Then you can choose how to open your PDFs. You can use your default Acrobat Reader or something like this, or you can choose specifically for Zotero. Automatically tag items with keywords and subject headings. No, you don't want this. And then let's skip this section. If you are going to actively use tags, don't allow Zotero to automatically tag them. Synchronization search, it will create a search index. You can actually create it by yourself, or you can sometimes clear index. The good thing, it is speeding up the search among the articles in your folders. But the bad thing that it also takes a lot of space, and it makes Zotero slower a bit. About the export, you will have a lot of formats. Usually in the art and humanities you use something like APA, which should be American Political Science Association, or no, American Psychological Association, that's APA, and some others. We will go back to that. About citations, now it has already integration with Word, so I will be able to show how it works. Excellent. If you would like to know where all the PDFs are, you should go to folders and files, show data directory, and it will guide you through. It is somewhere hidden on the C disk. And one hint that is usually not written anywhere is the following. You go to Advanced, you go to General, Config Editor, you accept the risks, and write here recursive. And you put here true. Double click on that. That's the way Zotero searches. Now with this recursive, it will go through all the folders. For instance, if I click here on the first folder and search something in the search field here on the top, it will go through all subfolders. Otherwise, it would not. And I would like, now with this recursive search, I would like to go to the root directory and search for all the articles. Now you can choose here in the middle, the way you see the metadata. Here the title is one of the most important probably. Authors are also important, but you might wish to add something like year, when it was published, then sort by year, and see, the first article is more than 100 years old. And then you can also add publication. And you can see the title of the journal in which it is published. So there are a lot of features about searching, because you can search through title, creator, and year, or all fields and tags, or absolutely everything. So it will go and search inside the PDFs. Of course, you can also you can do a very smart search. Sorry, tools, advanced search. Use different options like or, and, like title, contains, or is not, begins with, contains, does not contain, and then you can add more and more filters. Moreover, you can create a filter so that you do not search every time, but you create this filter and then it is automatically applied. I have never used it, but you might be interested. All right, about the tags. The tags are in the bottom left corner. If I'm interested in some topic or I'm writing a specific article about AB, then I tag the most important articles on that topic with a specific tag like VI, my initials, at AB. As you can see here, I have some other ways of making it clear that I really like this article. It is kind of good article. There are some other projects. Adding a tag is very simple. The right pane is the following. Here you can see the whole metadata for that specific journal, that article that I have chosen here. It will contain the type. Now it's a journal article, but as I've told you, you can store here everything like TV broadcast, video recording, web pages, radio broadcast, newspaper articles, everything. This one is journal article, the simplest one. And you have abstract here, publication, the Journal of Physical Chemistry A, volume, issue, page, year of publication, abstract, journal abbreviation, and then those DOIs, ICSN, URLs, everything you need. Next, you can write notes to your articles, which is great, and I will show you how you can do it a bit later, because this is a very powerful technique. Then you can tag, and then here you just start writing some tags. You can choose from existing ones, or you can create a new one just by writing a new name. So you try to find your good practice and then start using it every day. How about adding an article here? So I'm talking about how amazing it is, but let's see how it works in fact. Now we have a plugin for Chrome, and we can go to our favorite scholar to find something about Salmon X. And probably one of the most popular articles in this field is the first one. And by the way, already from this page we can start importing something. You can see here it shows a folder. If you click, it will understand that on this page you have so many articles. Now you can click on them, of course, and then you can say OK. All of them are now added to Zotero. For some of them, it even found PDFs. It could not find the PDF for this NRC Research Press because it is on the publisher webpage. Let's see if the University of Tartu paid for that one. Yeah, so it is here. Now Zotero understands that it is a PDF. Let's wait a bit. And remember that when I've installed and I went to preferences, I've ticked something about getting the metadata from the PDF. So let's add save to Zotero that PDF. Let's go to Zotero and see that it is adding it here. Now it's already here, but we don't have PDF. Now it is. Oh, okay. So that is a PDF. And now it was automatically transformed into the data and attached to that. So it looks like this. Strange enough. So it opens PDFs in browser, which is not good. Let's click again. All right. That's good enough. Very good. Other ways of adding is from the publisher's webpage. Now Zotero understands that it is publisher webpage and it will add it again if I press. You can also download a lot of articles. Already, if you have a collection of PDFs, don't worry, you can just download that PDF to somewhere on your computer, to desktop, and then drag and drop from there. Like this. And now we have a problem. We actually have 3 articles with the same title, the same authors, those are the same instances. And that's why you need this option, duplicate items. Because if you go here, you can just merge all of them. Now you have only one. You should know about Zotero something that it's very strange a bit, because those folders here are not real folders as on your computer. You can nest them a lot. And you can have the same, let's say article, okay, I don't remember how it's called in Zotero, but let's say this input here. You can now drag and drop it to any folder, and you will find it as well in here. But in this case, they are not duplicate, because folders in Zotero are more like tags. They are just nested one in another one, but they are more like tags. So one instance here could have many tags. In this case, it is tag first PhD article or tag untitled. But sometimes in the same folder you can have duplicates. That's when you save into Zotero from different sources that instance. Then you would have to get rid of these duplicates. We don't have unfilled items, which is really good. And that's it. We have added something and we can start working. Good. Let's see. We have installed Zotero. It was not difficult. We managed group libraries by syncing. So this was a group library and a lot of people could access to this library. They can simultaneously upload PDFs, add instances, which means that of course there might be duplicates, but you can see, as you have seen, it is easy to remove all the duplicates. We have not yet installed the we have installed the connector, but we didn't install Zotfile. I am skipping that for future bits. And we set up sync. Zotero for beginners. To start, of course you can just start by doing, but it's a good idea to go and see tutorial, which was written at the University of Tartu, I think. There is a definitely Estonian one. It is from our university, and then there is official documentation. There are some basic requirements. You need the Zotero standalone that you install on your desktop. You need connector for a browser, and I highly recommend also installing Zotfile plugin. Ways of adding articles. First of all, manually, which I haven't showed, that you can create a blank document and then start specifying whether the type is article, what is the title, what is the year of publication, publisher, all this metadata you can type in by hand. Then you can also import. When you do that, that means that you use specific file format for the references, and it might contain a lot of references inside. And you can import it from some other software like Mendeley or Endnote, and that will help you to migrate. You can use connector, which is now integrated into your browser, and you click and then it will automatically be there. And then you can drag and drop or import PDFs into Zotero. And the connector, let me remind you, it's always somewhere in the browser, somewhere on top, where you have all other plugins. Zotero usage, it could be by a single user or in a group. When you're a single user, you do not want to sync with Zotero. You don't have to pay at all anything, because Zotero has a storage limit 300 megabytes, which is very few. It's about less than 100 articles probably. But instead you can use any cloud. And there are two options. First of all, which I haven't tried much, is with WebDAV. It's a specific protocol for synchronizing with web applications. And another one is just using some cloud like Dropbox, own cloud. And it will work like this. You have your own cloud application installed on the desktop, so you have some folder where you store the files. Those are synchronized with the cloud, and then you can set them on another computer. The same idea is here. You install on both computers Zotero, and then you say Zotero to store all the files in the cloud folder, so that they will be automatically synced with the cloud. Next, you go to the second computer and you say to your Zotero, okay, let's grab all and let's store all the files in this folder. And that's it. All the files will be in your hands, and you will be in charge of your actions. And this way you can store as much of PDFs as your cloud allows you. But in this case, be careful, because with the clouds, it's always a danger that they might froze, break, some data could be lost. Create backups. In group, you would need to create a group in Zotero.org, or maybe you could try the WebDAV. Then you should tell everyone to use a group library, and that's the most challenging task. Because you have to tell everyone to untick the retrieval of tags so that you should have some rules about how to install Zotero, what kind of plugins you should and should not, who should get rid of the duplicates, for instance. And that is what makes a policy. And you should make a policy about using the collection of tags as well. Someone, of course, in your group should clean regularly all the duplicates, check unfilled items, and retrieve PDF using unpaywall or something. Okay, I have some suggestions for the group policy, especially for collaborative real-time writing. First of all, you should create a group policy that regulates which software to use and how to manage the group library. For instance, use the same reference management software, Zotero. Use collections to organize the bibliography, to differentiate research topics, to improve Zotero performance. By collections, I mean those folders that are usually in the left pane. Then you can use also the tags to further support and categorize all your references by complex ID, for instance, outer year project. This is a good idea. But it used to be so that tags considerably slowed Zotero. Now it's not the issue. And lastly, note that the reference may appear in different collections, still being a single entity. Oh, now that the word is entity is the right word. Yes, indeed. So you can put your articles, entities, into different. Also, tags can be assigned to a number of references. Try to use all these tools, and you will find out that keeping an order is actually a very simple business. Good practices with Zotero. Use Zotfile to renaming the PDFs. Keep all bibliography data updated. Just in case, back up Zotero library regularly. And some share tips and tricks that you can share with your colleagues is the following: that you could try pressing Ctrl-A with plus or minus, and you will see that, just try it, and you will see what will happen. And then you can select a reference, and in order to understand where it is stored, you can hold Option, Control or Alt in Linux, Windows and OS. There are actually a lot of hotkeys in Zotero. Try them. Let me summarize part 2. How to manage 1 billion of references. Indeed, there might be a lot of references in Zotero. I think I have now more than 10,000. What you should definitely do is to use reference management system for your writing. Now, if you would like to do collaborative research with your PhD supervisor, then you should have some agreement with him or with all the colleagues that you should call a group policy. And as soon as you start using Zotero, Try to keep your bibliography healthy by adding all the necessary metadata. If PDF is not uploaded, find it and upload. If something is missing, just put it there. And that's it with the part 2. Thank you.